Hello. Uti is the quintessential customer anthropologist. What is that? Evidence of what? Android. iPhone self. For over 15 years, with more than half of that in financial services, she has worked in various customer disciplines and on 2 continents. Not state or continents, not country or continents. She is currently the head experience design and execution at Sterling Bank. Before joining Sterling Bank, Uti worked with Alliance Nigeria as head customer engagement. Prior to that, she was the head of other media interaction services at Diamond Bank, now Access Bank, where she held several other positions. She has also worked for international brands like Edexcel, Persin, Blue Square, now Betfair, Marks and Spencer, and Virgin Media. Uti is passionate about helping small businesses and startups connect with their customers, whilst achieving measurable results in the areas of customer experience strategy, cost-effective engagement strategies, and to add structure to business processes and questions. Make I first rest. Long. Uti is a speaker, trainer, and when she isn't spreading the customer experience gospel, she follows her other passion, which is media. Uti is currently a co-anchor on the primetime TV show Ways, where topical issues that affect Nigeria's youth are discussed. She is also an avid proponent of self-development and mentors young people to help them make the most of their careers. Make I rest again. Another one today. So let's welcome our next speaker, iPhone Pro Max. Told you, she's a software. Uti Hello. Once you reach here, I go know say na better software. Paid software, not the trial version.
Hi everybody, good morning. Every time that thing is red, I swear they're not talking about me. It's a lie. 11 o'clock. When that rain fell this morning, I thought this room was going to be empty. So please, everybody, just clap for yourselves that you're here. I know why rain is falling in February. The weather, like global warming is real, right? But I'm always excited. Like I said, there are a few keywords in that profile. Self-development, personal development is huge for me. I love when people are looking to learn. And when events are on a Saturday and in the morning, I worry about speaking early because I feel like I'd have said all my fantastic stuff, then people will be arriving. But today I walk in and the room is full. And not is it just full, it's full of salespeople. I hail you guys. I just tell Mr. Adeki, we seem to keep speaking at the same events, and most times I speak right after him. And I'm like, man, you sales guys, I hail you. And you would sell houses. Vale. In the preparing for this session, I was having a look at a couple of websites, and I saw a house for 1.6 billion naira. So I began to ask myself, who you sabi? Where you want to begin this conversation? So, sir, there's one house like this. Hey, very fine. Speak all the English. Okay, how much? Well, you know, sir, you are capable. One for you. It's only small money. You know, in Nigeria, everything is small money. And small money is relative. So it's only 1.6 billion. Even me, as I said it now, that I'm not even involved, my heart did give. So I understand. So well done. I tell people, as much as sales is tied to what I've done or what I've always done, I'm not sure I could sell. One day someone said to me, Uche, you make a fantastic salesperson. I said, why? I said, because first, can talk for Africa. I can, really. I've been on a call for 17 hours before, so I can. And it wasn't on MTN. But I can talk. And I build relationships, which is really what selling is, right? It's being able to build relationships. But that connection was something I hadn't made before. And when you can go to the next slide, thank you. And when I understood that, sometimes some things help you shift your perspective, help you think differently. So what I want to tell you today is, I don't believe I'm going to tell you anything you don't already know. What I'm going to help you do is shift your perspective. I'm going to help you connect the dots to help you do what you do better. So I'm almost 100% certain that there's nothing I'm going to say to you today that you don't already know. But powerful shifts in perspective make all the difference. I don't believe today that I can sell a 1.6 billion naira house. But I believe that in here some way, there's somebody that can. When I get there, maybe by then, it cannot be 2023, 2027 is small. Maybe 2031. When I don't hold my number, just wait. 2031, maybe when I become a politician, you can now look for me and say, I was in the room that day, I have 1.6 billion naira, so I say, come bring me, let's talk. But it's not now. So, very quickly, don't have much time today. Just a quick highlight of some of the things that we're going to be talking about. Really, it's customer experience. And customer experience is a funny thing. People ask me, when I say I work in customer experience, the first question is, oh, you work in customer service? No, I work in customer experience. Okay, what's the difference? So I'm used to explaining the difference. But let me start with where people are familiar. Anybody bad customer service? Have experienced bad customer service? Everybody? Everybody believes we can't do good customer service in Nigeria? We typically tend to think that. Yes and no. My job, what I say when I say I'm preaching the customer experience gospel, is to change that narrative. Is to get people, business owners, salespeople, everybody to understand how easy it can be to do customer service right, to do customer experience right. Now, once you understand customer experience, you understand where service fits into it. So, when we talk about, or we now have unanimously agreed that there's no good customer service in Nigeria, even though you are all service providers, but we'll come back to that. But let's go to the next slide. So, majority of these brands you'll all be familiar with. We have Zappos, which might not be so familiar, but at least Amazon, Disney, and Apple. Everybody know those three brands?
Yeah.
Globally, these are brands that are accepted as leaders in the space of service, as leaders in the space of customer experience. Why? Because they understand their customers. But not only do they understand their customers, they have changed their industry. Not only have they changed their industry, they have broadened their own business from where they started, all because they understood their customers. Amazon goes without saying. It started from selling books. Now, I'm sure if you know how to sell, you're able to buy a human being. Don't quote me. But they want to be the most customer-centric company. That's their culture. Disney is all about happiness, creating entertainment for people of all ages. You've watched Disney cartoons, right?
Yes.
Disney didn't stop at cartoons. They realized the people that are watching the cartoons would grow up. They started to make movies, your Marvel, and they're just acquiring companies that allow them to stay true to that vision. Do you know today, Disney makes wedding dresses? Because Disney realized there are people who have loved Disney so much, they want to get married in those castles they watched in the cartoons.
Yeah.
So now you can buy a dress like Sleeping Beauty, and you can get married in Disneyland. Because they understand their customers. It's opening more. That understanding is opening more and more business lines for them. When they started, they just started from drawing what? The cartoon animation of Mickey Mouse. And look what Disney has become today. Apple goes without saying. How many people have iPhone here? Raise your hand, raise your hand. Raise your hand now. You iPhone people. iPhone people, they're like BMW drivers. They've made it in life. You can't tell them anything else. You know, Android, we're like prostitutes. Wherever you, anyway, just Play Store, just download. Apple will be like, no, sorry, don't do that. iOS only. Some apps just don't work. So Apple owners tend to behave like that. I've arrived. Okay, all of you will be okay. Android people, we are here, be? You. But they understood the challenges. They took what Microsoft did and they started off with just making it more user-friendly. They made their computers more beautiful. Microsoft was that white, ugly square box. Apple went and added small curve, gave you, do you want pink, do you want blue, do you want purple? Anyone you like, we'll give you. And that's where it started. But today, when Apple is releasing a new product, people are queuing. Who is queuing here to buy Microsoft? But Apple, people will queue. They've gone from just doing laptops and computers to going into phones. That is the understanding of the customer that evolves. Next slide. So having talked about, I'll come back. So Zappos is, for me, the best brand in the world. They sell shoes. If you have time, Google them. They have the longest customer service call. It's about 17 plus, no, sorry. I think they had the record of 17 hours plus. A contact center agent was on call with a customer for 17 plus hours. The customer was not complaining. The customer was gisting. And then I think somebody beat that either by, it's now 19 hours or I think 21 hours. But their mantra is to connect customers. They sell shoes. You cannot order a shoe in 2 minutes. Then you can spend the rest of the 21 hours gisting with the person about anything. And it's fine. So, I will talk about WestJet as well, or rather, we'll see something about WestJet. What is customer experience? Because I know that's always the first question. Service is simple, right? You need something from me as a company, and I do it. Either you ask a question, or you have a problem, or you want to buy something, right? That's service. Everybody gets that. It's nice and easy. So how does that differ from customer experience? Service is just a point in time. If you never come to my company to ask a question, or never have an inquiry about my product, or never want to buy my product, you're never going to experience service, right? But for every company, you have an experience. Even the people in this room who have never had an Apple device have experienced Apple. How have you experienced it? By word of mouth. How have you experienced it? By what you see online. But how you see people interact with it. That's customer experience. So customer experience goes beyond you as a company and your products and services, and it looks at the customer's perception of you, of your product, of your service, of your brand. So customer experience is more strategic. It's something you plan. You know, today when we talk about Apple, it's because consistently people have talked about Apple. They've done reviews, they've shown, you've seen people that use Apple. All of those are experiences. Tomorrow, one day in the future, if you ever bought an Apple device, your experience will add on to that, whether in the positive or in the negative. So it's a sum total. If you think about it, all the positives and all the negatives. For your CX to be right, you want the positives to be more than the negatives. If your CX is right, you start to learn more about your customer, and it starts to open new markets for you. So I'd like to tell a story. Who likes to go to Balogun, Okarin, any of those places? One. You raise hand, I know it's empty. Let's me. Okay, who will never go there? Who likes Ebano? Who likes supermarkets? Why? Where are the baby girls and baby boys in the room? So I tell people, as you see me now, I look normal, as I've been talking since. You like the sound of my voice, I hope. Me, my happiest place on earth is Balogun Market. My happiest place on earth is Okarin. In fact, if you want to give it crown, there's one street in particular. It's called Issa Williams. Once I entered there, it's like, hey, Hey, I'm going to Eastern Williams today. Let's go, let's go, let's go. And every time I say this, people go, Auntie, what's wrong? What did Ebano ever do to you? Ebano is on your street where you live. But you leave it, you go all the way to Lagos. I said, you can't understand. See me, when I enter Eastern Williams, it's like a queen has arrived. My Labaru is waiting at the junction. Ha, ma, welcome, ma. How are you? How is your child? Hey. Yeah, she are going from shop to shop. Hey, customer, how are you? Welcome, ma. How are you? How is your daughter? That's your sister you came to the market with. How is she? She don't come with you today. I've not got anything, no. I've not stopped, though. I'm still going. I have one particular shop. I like to start from there because I'm guaranteed that we eat abacha. As I arrive, the guy will, I don't know, wherever that abacha person is, she's not far. See that, sit down, bring chair. Sit down, madam. Abacha. You know, so I can go to the market hungry. I'm guaranteed that I will. And as I buy, as I'm going, you know how as much as if you don't hold your money like this in Lagos, they can thief the bag, thief the money, join. Maybe it's only your shoe that will show that you were there. But as I'm buying, pay, wakago. Pay, wakago. That's how I buy you. When I get to the end of the street, when I come back, my load will start following me. The Alabaru, she will now decide how many additional people you want to add and they'll follow me. That's the experience that I like. Because some people, this thing I've said, never. When there's ever no, I will enter AC, I will push trolley, I will pay, and then I will go. It's okay. But you see, that's the difference. When Mr. Kunle was talking about customers and understanding your customers and customer segments, that's the difference. I go to Ebano. It's just not fun for me. Why? Because I like the personal touch. I like the experience. I like going to the market. I like talking to people. You know, sometimes you go into Ebano and you say, where is this thing? They will say, go to the next time. It's just there. I don't like it. It irritates me. So they haven't created an experience for me. But the market has created an experience for me. So when people talk about customer experience, it sounds like it's a very funky, very technical something. Yes, it is actually. Don't let me sound data. But in truth, it's actually very simple. So it's a mindset shift. Where do you put your focus? Most small businesses, they have small money. And it's money we use to make money. So they focus their money on refining their product, buying more products, marketing, Instagram ads, Facebook ads. But they forget about the person and the reason why they're doing what they're doing, which is who? The customer. So you don't try to understand the customer, but you're doing all these things. My message is simple. Sort out the customer. How does it say in the Bible? And all others shall be added unto you. That's what it is. Next slide, please. So, a couple of key things in the technicalities of it, and I'll make it relatable. When you talk about, okay, you've explained customer experience to me, so what do I do next? Where do I begin? These three things are where you begin. When I was asked to speak at this event, I said, oh, I know very little about real estate. The money people used to call used to scare me. You know, everything is million. In fact, now that I told you we have entered billion, you will are not talking to me. I'm not your customer. Thank you very much. So, but what I found, because this is a industry that's built on relationships. This is an industry that's built on connections. Customer experience is about making those connections. But these three things are foundational to that. And I thought to myself, how really has real estate in Nigeria leveraged technology? I don't remember. So my sister has Japan, but she used to be in this space. And I remember when Castles magazine first came out. I see a lot of young people in the crowd, so you may not have been around at that time. But I see some people too that are like my age. Does anybody remember how groundbreaking Castles was? Yeah. Like there was a magazine somewhere where you don't look and see house, see phone number, call somebody. My sister used to talk about Castles like it was the Bible. I used to be like, what? What's so special? You know, in those days too, there's what you call those magazines where you go for styles. We don't do them anymore now. You just buy one big magazine and you carry it to your tailor and say, so this one. It was around that time too. So that evolution from us not even having a real estate sector, when we sold our house, when my mother was building her house, I remember my mother building her house. I built the house with her and I was only 8 or 6. Because where we go, they want to pour German floor. They will carry me there. I will sit down, no, I will be looking. The mixer will be going around. Me too, I will be looking. That house, we all built it together. But that was an experience that we've identified that people don't want that hassle. I have my money. I just want somebody to do the work. So developers now exist. I want somebody to do all the speaking the English, to tell me what to look out for. Now we have HFIP. I was trying to ask this. When the man that introduced me said, what's a duplex? I Googled it last night. The idea of understanding the industry and knowing it seems so complicated has birthed the job that you all do. All of that comes from an evolving experience of people buying their land themselves, people buying houses, building houses themselves. Then you realize you got to drag with Omonile. From Omonile, estates were born. Somebody took the wala of Omonile from you. These are all evolving experiences that has birthed what you all do today. So, but these things, how has technology entered your space? I googled back to Nigeria, started to see Nigerian property center, Nigeria houses. You are behind the time zone. You know, I told you I'm not your customer, so I know very little about your sector. But it was interesting to see how we've leveraged technology, because I still don't think, when I think about it, I think in Nigeria, do people really use those websites? Do people buy from those websites? It is, they engage you, right? So it's a funnel that you've created. So that's how you've leveraged technology. And I think it's a fantastic option. I mean, the way dollar is happening now, people in diaspora must just be chopping up houses like there's no tomorrow. So even at that sense, you're talking diaspora, right? So it helps you. So your industry is already leveraging technology. My challenge to you is, what else can you do? Because companies like, what's the first one I talked about? P1. They changed the game when it came to buying land in this area. The whole model, everything was very different. So what can you learn, or what do you know about your customers today that can help you find the next area? Now, each and every single one of you in this room, the very thing you're trying to do by being in this room is the second thing, competency. You're all trying to develop yourselves. That's why you're here. You're listening to me today because you want to learn something. If somebody comes to you today and says they want to buy a house, and they say they want a duplex, and you don't know what a duplex is, there's a problem, right? If they're asking you the difference between C of O and governor's consent, there's a problem, right? So you also have to be competent. It is that competency in understanding your field and your area that helps you to understand. The more you learn about your customer, you can match the gaps together. So I learned that my customer wants A, and I understand my industry well enough to know, okay, how can I make A easier for the customer to get and make it better? That opens up an opportunity for you, right? And culture. One of the key reasons why service is so bad in Nigeria today is culture. First of all, we have diverse culture. How many tribes are we? 600 and something different languages. Some people say good morning, ma. Some people say down. Some people say hello, morning. Some people, all sorts, right? Wherever there is a group of people, there is a culture. So in your family, there's a culture. In your tribe, there's a culture. When you come to work in a company, that company also has a culture. So if you ever worked anywhere and they tell you, oh, it's a first name basis here, and then you see some people that are like your mother's age, and like, good morning, ma. Then if it's bad for you, that man will now say, no, my name is not ma, my name is BC. You now then have that ma. So you people do this back and forth tussle for a while until you calm down, and either she gives up, because there are some guys that will eventually be like, I'm sorry, this person's programming is hard. Just take the man, move on. Or you are lying and you start being able to call the person. Why is culture important? A lot of CEOs say, I want my business to do a certain number of things. I want my staff to act in a certain way. But very many times they don't define that. Particularly customer service people. They just expect you to know, the basics, smile, greet, help people. But how many of them actually tell them how to do that? Having the experience we're trying to do. Why is this important? When we start to think about it, why should I? All these things they are saying sounds fantastic, but why? Customer experience is the key to doing 4 things. Depending on what the strategy is, it will determine. In your market, retention and loyalty is key. Mr. Kule just said it. Doesn't matter which house he wants to buy, he goes to the same guy. Because the guy has built a relationship. So you're doing and practicing the principles of CS because you want to increase retention. You want to increase loyalty. What does that do? That becomes advocacy. Which means the minute you and I are having a conversation and I say, I want to buy a house, the first thing Mr. Kule is going to say is, I have a guy. Let me call him for you. Right? Customer lifetime value. It's simple. When I meet you today and I'm trying to sell you one house, in the lifetime of my relationship, how much money can I make from you? How many houses can I sell to you? When I start to think about your needs and understanding you better, trust me, it's a lifetime journey. Because you're building relationships and connections. The amount of phone calls and text messages and emails that you send, they are more for people that don't know you. You know, once you sold to somebody, it can be, happy new month, sir. Happy Christmas, sir. Happy birthday, sir. You're just keeping in touch. That's engagement. Just to keep the connection going. It may amount to maybe top 6 messages per year, depending on your capacity. But you see, when you are looking for new customers, you can send 1,000 SMS. It's pipeline. Maybe if 20% answer, 1% buys, I'm okay. So you spend more to acquire. So CX helps you to manage that cost. Because trust me, you can keep selling to 1,000 new people, or you can sell to 20 existing people. All that sell is the money. Decreasing your cost to serve. Once you're efficient, once you're leveraging things like technology, you can do more with less. When you have effective customer service people, when you have a properly defined process, you need less people. Because everybody knows what to do. So it reduces the cost of you doing business. Or running a business. Absolutely. So these are the 4 key areas that I tell people. If any of these things, and they must be important to you as a business or business person, these are the things you need to be chasing, and this is what CX helps you. Next slide, please. I won't spend much time here, but this is just the journey. So, when I talked about customer service only comes in at stage 4 where you have usage, because I'm either complaining about the product or I have a question or something. But experience starts right from the beginning. How did I learn about Apple? I may never have been to Apple's website, but I know somebody that has an iPhone, and they've told me their experience, right? If I decide tomorrow that I want to buy an iPhone, today I can go onto the website, I can compare, I can ask people, I can go into a shop, I can play around with it, that evaluation. Then I want to buy. How easy is it to buy? We'll talk about that. Then once I've bought it, that's where service comes in. And if I get service right, then what happens? I bond with the brand. I become I've made it in life person. And then what happens next? Advocacy. You start to hear things like, I can't use Android. No. That's where you want to get to. You want to have enough people talking about your product and your service in that way. So that when somebody says, I want to buy a house, like, no, I can't buy a house from anybody. There's one lady. I need to hook you up with that. Change you. That's what you want to achieve, and that's advocacy. Next slide, please. So this is just a breakdown of the sales point. Some of the key areas that you need to focus on. So when you start to talk about how you improve the customer experience, the key journey for you in your business is the sale. That's it. What you're trying to do is sale. So that sales process is what you need to optimize. It's the customer experience of that sale that I've broken down into these 4 things here. Customer development. How do you take a lead from a lead to a customer? That's you developing the customer. All the things I do in that space, how do I do it now and how can I make it better? You need to sit down one day with a pen and a paper and identify the gaps. Once I acquire the customer, how easy do I make it? That entire process, is it easy? In all these emails and messages I'm sending to the customer, how do I do it? Engagement. Do I know what my customer prefers? I have a habit now. If I collect your phone number, the next thing I'm asking you is, do you prefer calls? Do you prefer WhatsApp? What time would you like me to call you? Very deep questions that determine the kind of reception you will get. You have to understand your engagement. I always tell people I don't like SMS. In fact, if you want me to block you fastest, SMS is the way to go. Just send me SMS, buy house now, block. But to some people, they like SMS. Because for me, 160 characters doesn't tell me anything. So what you've done is you've taken the work from me to you. I need to now pick up the phone and call you. Picture and notes. Information I don't know. How can you possibly say in 160 characters that will get me to take action? I don't get it. I don't believe in it. Email is free and it's cheap. Email is free and it's easy. Send me an email. Something I can read with enough information to take a decision. But that's me. Some customers will never open your email. But they see the SMS and go, let me call. You need to know who those customers are. So understanding customer preferences. That's the engagement. When it's time to pay, you don't have much control over that. But I had a very interesting conversation with the CEO of Eystone. And we're talking about GT Bank. Don't like GT, don't believe in GT, but if I say how many people have a GT account here, now everybody gonna do like this. Let's try it. You got a GT account? Hand up. And you say, I swear that bank is jazz. But the fact is, most people open accounts to make it easier for their clients to pay. That's what he shared with me. They waited a year to open an account. Why? Because it was GT and they knew most of their customers would use GT. How can you simplify the payment process? Onboarding and documentation, like I said, is plenty in this Nigeria. I don't understand. Buyer fee, seller fee, CFO, deed of assignment. My mother bought house 40 years ago. I was trying to do CFO. They say you don't have to deed something. And now need to be looking for one family member and rubbing his head and paying him money. I don't understand it. How can you make that easier? What's the handover process? If I buy a house today, if I give you key, do I just give you key, turn around and go? Then I'm adding to the experience. Can I make it nicer? Can I make it better? Today, when you go into shortlet, people now expect that there will be water in the shortlet, there will be toilet room. All those things do not start from there. It's an evolution. But these are the areas you need to be thinking about because sales is your key journey. Next slide, please. I'm going to breeze through these very quickly. So, expectations is key. We talked about, or rather, Mr. Clay talked about understanding who the key decision maker is. When you're building your experiences, remember that expectations can change the situation. When you're happy, when you're stressed, when you're angry, the same experience will be very different. This is a scene in a car park. I work in a company, I want to go to lunch. I come to the car, I see that my car tire is flat. I call the company and say, oh, somebody needs to come, or I call mechanic, somebody needs to come and fix my car. He says, I'll be there in 1 hour. Not a problem. I wanted to go somewhere in the car, right? But there's a restaurant across the street or there's a canteen. It's not an issue. I quickly go and I eat. Whenever you get here, it's fine. Next one. Same situation. Now I'm on the express. It's raining. And that same mechanic tells me 1 hour. Will it be funny? It won't. But it's the same 1 hour that if you were in the other situation, you didn't have a problem with. Next one. You're traveling from Lagos to Zamfara, and it happens. And you say 1 hour. Whether it's Boko Haram, whether it's Sun, I don't know which one is going to get you first. 1 hour doesn't cut it. Same situation, same person. That's it. You're in the middle of Mushi. It's you and your children in the car. Mechanic say, man, just wait 1 hour. But by 1 hour, they would have carried me, carry the car, carry everything, joy. There'll be nothing for you to do. Same situation. Nothing has changed but the scenarios. That is what has changed my expectation. Same customer, same service provider. Same service that I need. But all very different expectations. Next slide, please. So in these 4 cases, what could I do to make it better? Because 1 hour is 1 hour. That's your reality. You can try to make it faster. You can assure the customer, I'm doing everything to get you. But you know the way you do business. If a document is going to take 6 months to come out of Alausa, Maybe if you bribe, if it's in your culture to bribe, maybe you come out faster. Because some things, you have to find ways around managing those kind of scenarios, right? So maybe for the person who's gone to eat and is not bothered, maybe I have an app for you that lets you know, you can track where I am, how long it's going to take to get there. And it's not big things, it's little things. Because remember, you're not in control of the ladder. 1 hour is 1 hour. But if you're standing by the side of the road and I turn up with an umbrella, or you're standing in the heat and I turn up with a bottle of cold water, remember I said it's connections. You're just trying to tweak that person's experience, that person's feeling of, oh, wow, this person even thought enough about me to bring water. Remember when Uber first started? Yes. I entered Uber, I was first enter brand new Serato. Then you asked me, do you want water? Do you want sweet? What radio station do you want to listen to? When they first came. Let's not talk about it now. You know, and the same thing for the person who's in a dangerous situation. Maybe you have an app that can tell them somewhere, maybe there's a Chicken Republic down the road, you can go and wait or something. But there's little things, is what I'm trying to say, that you can make those little shifts in different situations. So what does it mean? That when you're talking to your customers, you're trying to understand what state or frame of mind they're in. I may not be willing to talk to you about the house today, but maybe when I've gone to a party and come back on Saturday, that might be the best time to call me. We may first of all gist about, salespeople is the connection. Some people want to gist about their children. I have a friend, so every time she goes to somebody's office, she's looking for pictures. Which one can she ask? This man has put a picture of his son. That means, is this your son? Let's gist about the son for the first 1 hour. Then we can now talk about where I came. Little things. Next slide, please. Next slide. For salespeople, one thing I like to tell people that is key. Not every customer is your customer. I hope we know.
Yes.
That there's no point wasting time on somebody that you cannot have success with. Customer success is key in every type of business. It was a phrase that was coined for the software as a service business, but I tell everybody it's key for everybody. Your goal is that the customer must reach their desired outcome with you. If the outcome is to sell land, it's not to say that you cannot sell them anything else, but the desired outcome. Now, does this customer have everything they need? You know, I can tell you today that I want to buy that 1.6 billion naira house, and you now start calling me every day, start talking to me every day. Meanwhile, you ask yourself whether this woman truly has 1.6 billion. I can be enjoying our conversations every day. How are you, sir? I'm just checking in today. Know that I'm not your customer. Ask the questions that will help you assess the customer as indirectly or directly as you possibly can, quickly. Right? So it's key to keep customer success in the back of your mind. How quickly can I understand the customer's desired outcome? And am I the person to give them that? Now I beg you, if you are not the person to give them that in that particular scenario, there are like 50 people sitting in this room. Find somebody and connect them. It doesn't mean that person can't be your customer in a different scenario. But the quicker you don't waste the customer's time, you create a wonderful perception of yourself. And you build stronger networks in your own industry. I know this is an industry that has plenty chain. There's buyer, there's seller, there's the person that actually has the house, the agent for that person that has the house. Now, so they go share the money until 10% will be 0.5% per person. So understand that. What is the desired outcome, and am I the right person to help them reach it? If I'm not, how can I still help them reach it? Very key. Next slide, please. Important to know that, like I said, we take nothing away from here. The question you should ask yourself in every lead that you speak to is, what is the person's success potential? Are they able to afford what I'm buying? Is there something in my portfolio they can buy? Can I match the desired outcome? Can I give them the type of service that they have or need? I have a graphics designer, best graphics designer in the world. Doesn't pick up the phone. He only deals on WhatsApp. If you are somebody that needs to speak to him, you can't be his customer. And he tells people, so I recommend him to people. And I tell people, you want to work with this dude? Great. Everything you want to do, send it by WhatsApp. The minute you press click him, if he block you. Because you are, exactly, Because he's worked out a flow in terms of how he works. So picking up the ball, creative work, it's difficult to get back into the flow.
Yeah.
So he's worked out what works for his business. So if you are not that kind of person, he doesn't even do headaches. I'm so sorry, man. Please don't be angry. Over the years, I've taught him how to teach people how to say no to people nicely. I can recommend somebody, I have a colleague, and sit on the phone for 2 hours. We can be doing the work together. It's not me. So we think about success potential. A couple of key things that I won't waste too much time on it, but for you in your industry, like I said, can they afford it? Is it what they're looking for? If they can't afford it, do they have the means to get a mortgage or whatever it is? All of those things. Next slide, please. I'm trying to run through this. I see the time up pretty much. Okay. The wow is very important. It's key in your industry. One that drives on referrals. You wow the customer. You give them something they weren't expecting. Something that makes your business, makes the service and the experience you gave them memorable. When Apple brought out the iPod, it was life-changing. You know the first segment it was life-changing for? The runners. Remember CD player? Yeah. As you shake body like this, the music will be and you're trying to run. But see, when the iPod came out, for that particular segment, everybody was inspired. You could run at whatever pace you wanted, and you wouldn't skip a beat. So, in understanding that, that created a wow for that segment. The people that was so important, they started to see the convenience. I don't need to buy CD, I don't need to change CD, I just charge it, I don't need to buy battery. These were all the changes between when we went from Walkman to Discman, we thought we had arrived. Then somebody now brought no moving parts, just plug, charge, and play and go. It was wow. So how can you deliver? What are they looking for? Where is the expectation that you can change? That's what the wow is. Key things to ask yourself. Did they leave happier than when they arrived? Emotions is key to customer experience because remember, it's the customer's perception and that's driven by how they feel. So how did you connect and what emotion did you derive? Was it a strong emotion? Was that emotion strong enough for them to recommend you? It can also be a strong enough emotion for them to. So the focus is how do I get them to recommend? You want to build advocates. Everything you're doing is to find people who will sell on your behalf, people who will recommend and refer. So if you go to the next slide, then we'll take the video. I just want to do the video last. So people say to me, okay, all these things you said now, how do you learn about the customer? Feedback. No, Nigeria, when you give feedback, people don't like it. It's uncomfortable. You don't like to hear you didn't do something. You don't like to hear you didn't do something so well. But one thing I must encourage everybody here, feedback is a gift. For every 4 customers that give you feedback in 100, 96 didn't say anything, they just walked away. So welcome feedback with open arms, right? 2 key questions. Leave the technical speak of NPS and CSAT. NPS is Net Promoter Score, but it's that question. How likely are you to recommend? It's a very simple question to ask. And it's a good opener for you. When somebody gives you a high score, 910, you did very well. Okay, sir, who are you recommending? Whose number can I get? Whose email address can I get? Who can you speak to on my behalf? How satisfied were you with this experience? What can we do better? Help us to learn. Help us to serve you better the next time. When you're going to buy an house the next time, what could I do to have made it better than this experience? Very key questions to ask. Because that's how you learn, how you shift, how you grow, how you start building your own unique strategy. Because for each and every single one of you, you have to understand that your strategy is different from the person who's next. Your customers are different. The way you will both sell the same house is different. That is why you sit with pen and paper and you understand who are my customers, what's important to them. It's a journey each person takes for themselves. I had a lady I worked with, she sells bra. She came to me because she says, I'm competing with people selling up. One bra is selling 26,000. She said, but somebody can go and buy bra, 1.5, 2,000. 6,000, 3,000. And I started to work with that. And the first thing I said is this: the 1,500 customer is not the customer. What you need to find is the people that are willing to pay 26,000. Now, the person that's willing to pay 26,000, what is their expectation? When you find that person, trust me, that person knows 5 other people that can pay 26,000. Now, what can you offer? I suppose that the challenge is sorry to men. Let's example like follow the track. Said, oh, if they wear bra, it doesn't fit, maybe it's tight, they think they are one size, they're not one size, you know? And I said, okay, let's try doing fittings. So she started doing fittings. And more and more people started telling me. I said, so now if I buy from you at 26,000 and the fit is not right, you know, of course, the bigger problem. Because I've now bought a premium product that is not right for me. I said, you know what? Don't sell to anybody that doesn't come to you. Just like the graphic designer. If you see it, you like it, you say, where did you buy it? You say, I bought it here. When she comes to you and said, I want the one my friend bought, hey, we're like the same size. Give me what she bought. You say, no. She must come. Today, that store has gone from one store in VI to one in VI, one in Kenya, one in Abuja. Wow. So don't be afraid to do what's right for your business, right? But that takes you sitting down to understand the peculiarity of how you do business, even in the same industry, right? So it's very key. So you do that from the perspective of feedback. The customers you serve every day and the questions you ask help you to refine how you do business. What works for you, and then you find the customers that fit into that. Because you do what you do exceptionally well for those group of customers, they will bring you more business. But you must be deliberate, which is why I said not every customer is a customer. So you can't chase everybody. This is my last slide. I have 2 videos I want to show. I don't know if you have time. Maybe we'll just show one. The video is 5 minutes, so let's do the WestJet. I want to talk about the wow. Remember I had WestJet in the first slide? This is something WestJet did to wow their customers.
It was a night before Christmas, and all across the land, the good folks at WestJet had a miracle plan. On the eve before flying, the guests were in their beds. Visions of traveling danced in their heads. While out on the runway, something secret had arrived. It was left in the lounge. It was a Christmas surprise. Hello there! Is that Cohen? What are you looking for Christmas this year, Cohen? A choo-choo train? Oh, a classic! Do you like Thomas? And what would Mommy and Daddy like for Christmas?
Big TV.
Yeah, big TV.
A big TV! And you're looking fabulous!
Well, I need to.
It's okay if you just want to stare at me as well.
What I need is new socks and underwear.
An Android tablet.
Is that William beside you? And Cameron?
Some Santa boots.
Duck and stone.
While the guests told their Christmas wishes to good old St. Nick, WestJetters took notes and got ready to jump quick. It was a great rush with the 2 flights in the air to get all those presents. Not a moment to spare.
Say, phones ringing, there's children singing tonight. Lights out bright, I know it's a beautiful song. It's so weird, why? Santa's got to tell you tonight.
Hey, Thomas, let's get
Christmas cheer and celebrations all across the land. Sound of new expectations all across the land.
Thanks for flying with us at WestJet. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of your flight.
Happy faces rolls from every bright.
But was everything ready? We had to wait for the moment of truth and Council 8.
Wow. 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 No way.
Guests never expected when they'd asked of St. Paul he would actually appear. It was all quite a trip. A WestJetter would say it was more than mere fun. Miracles do happen when we all work as one. Who gives Santa the last word on this most special night?
Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good flight.
Wow. For the wall. That's so cute. Harry Earpiece.
Just in case you were wondering, who is feeling a bit emotional? I've seen that video many times and it's still always emotional. I know this is a big wow, right? But even in you that didn't participate in it, you felt emotional, right? The lady who was crying about the camera doesn't look like somebody that can't afford a camera, but it was important. The guy that asked for socks and underwear, what he means there. But you know, this company, they're the number one airline in Canada, many years in a row. This was the first time they did this. They've done it every year since, in different places. But guess what? These people, will they ever fly any other?
No.
At Christmas, it don't matter where you are going. You are going to buy WestJet in case it's your turn.
Yes.
It has multiple aspects to it. It just keeps giving. Because guess what? We are not in Canada. We're in Nigeria. You just watch the video. Tomorrow, all your jackpot people in Canada, when I don't hear about WestJet, people that try. But great experiences have the ability to be exponential in reward. You just need to think about how you will create your own version of the wow. I don't know if you have time later today, because a lot of time when I have these conversations, people say, "Oh, but it's not for me." Like I said, I gave the example of the person who was selling brands. At any size of business, true game changer. And I hope that at some point today you will have the opportunity to play the other video. It's only about 6 minutes, but it's how a shop that sells fish somewhere in America decided to leverage customer experience and become world class, become world famous. And today they sell fish. DHL, no, not DHL. UPS carries their fish around the world just to experience that experience. And they sell fish. The same fish you buy here, the same mackerel, cycle. That's what they did. But they changed the game. It opened up a new industry for them. Now they do trainings like this to teach people how they did what they did to become world famous selling fish. So don't think it's not possible, because that is not for me. But if you sit and it's really about a change in perspective for your business, unique for you, how you're going to design it for your customers. Thank you very much.
My question is regards to a portion where you mentioned something about how to manage customer experience from beginning to end. You know, sometimes, especially in this our own environment, the customer experience thing is kind of different as compared to the West. It's somewhat difficult here, even to get the required feedbacks from customers. Sometimes it's very difficult. Now, how do one ensure that um, customers don't just give feedback because you're pressuring them? You know, let me just say something. Make this guy know disturb me again. You get, how do you ensure you get the actual feelings of the customer's experience from the products they bought from you?
Great question. So I'll share something. I had a conversation with another business that I was working with, and they had the same challenge because they were a B2B business. What they do is they sell, they manufacture, what's it called now? Machines for production for companies. So if you imagine, the company is in Lagos, the CEO of the company they sold to is in Abuja, the project is in Owerri. Who is going to give you the best feedback? In Owerri. Thank you very much. Now, the company is asking the CEO at the end, Alpha. The CEO will only tell you it was okay. The CEO will only tell you if there was a problem that was either brought to his attention or the parts that were directly related to his interaction with you, he can give you feedback. Feedback is not something that, which is why I said, it's not about the question. See that question, how satisfied are you? How likely are you to recommend? You don't have to use those words, but you can get that information. The most important thing, and I liked where you started from when you said that it's different here than in the West. People are people everywhere. Nigerians are peculiar, just like British people are peculiar from American people. It's all different. But you see, when you start to sit down, the customer is at the center of everything that we do. It is peculiar how you're going to ask Uti that question. It's not how you're going to ask this lady that question. It's not how you're going to ask. Yes, there are standard practices for surveys. But let me shock you. All those surveys that your banks are sending you, companies are sending you, at best, 4% response rate. At best. So those surveys everywhere in the world, and when I say 4%, I'm not talking just Nigeria, globally, 4% is about the responses rate. But in your industry, it's actually easier to get feedback. It doesn't have to be a moment in time when you stop and say, how was it for you? In conversations, you glean things. At some point, again, how do you position the question? A lot of the time, we ask the question from our perspective. How can I be better? And the customer will tell you anything. What didn't you like? What would you prefer? Different ways to ask the same question. All you're interested in is the answer. So as long as I can communicate that, then I can get it. But it's down to you understanding your customers enough to know how to position the question. Most people don't like answering that question because it's just that. It's a question everybody asks. It's like today, people that sell on Instagram, they give me testimony. Why are they asking for the testimonial? Half the time, they just want it so they can post on Instagram. Not that they're actually going to take your feedback to do anything with it. So it's thinking about it and how you make it work in your own space.
Okay, next question.
My question is, you talked about someone who owns a branch shop, and the person in the branch shop insists that you must come over to buy my brand. If you're not willing to come over, then that means my what I'm selling is not for you. Okay, now in a situation whereby nowadays we sell basically online, as in most of our sales are online, and you have already referred someone to me to buy what I'm selling, and I am insisting, and you know that that person is capable of paying my bills. You understand? So in this situation, I now insist that you have to come over. So am I not? So great question, and I'll use that example I gave as well, and I'll just read from there.
One thing that maybe I didn't also mention, but I did talk about it in evolution. You don't stop innovating in CS, right? So that you choose to do something in a certain way today doesn't mean that if customers are asking for it in a different way, but like you just said, I know this customer can pay. How do I evolve to expand to serve this type of customer who is currently not my customer? So let me use this lady. Yes, if you don't come to her shop, you can't buy. But she engages you to understand what you're trying. So when you call, you say you want the bra, she's going to ask you some questions. What did you like about your friend's bra? What did you like about the fit? What challenges are you experiencing? I don't want to come to the shop. Why can't you come to the shop? If you're not in Lagos, if you're not in Keja, if you're not in Abuja. In fact, it was because she had so many people flying from Abuja to Lagos to buy. So buy bra. I was shocked. I was there the day she opened her Keja store. A lady saw it on Instagram and flew to Lagos just to buy bra. The woman spent almost 700,000 before she left the store. So what she did is in those situations, right? She started to leverage video calls. Not for everybody. But when she identified, this person has capacity. You know, before you will fly from Abuja to Lagos, I need to know you and the people you know. So I can make an exception. Then you start to think about, how do I fix this problem? Do I need more stores? Can I leverage technology to serve these customers? So you don't take a position and stand still. That's how Nokia died and iPhones and all of these things. So you continue evolving. So remember, your customer is at the center. So if the customer fits your profile in certain ways, but they don't also fit in certain ways, is it a way you can fix? This is not to say now that, remember, it is because this particular person has been identified as being profitable that the lifetime value that person presents is looking good. So now I have to push myself. But don't forget that you can do that at the expense of your business if it's not somebody that makes that criteria. Because you are now trying to invest. Because that technology, as small as the video call is, you must have smartphone, you must have data, all of that is investment. Even if you say data is cheap or whatever, it's investment in time. The time she spends doing that, she's not serving the customers who make the time to come to the store. These are all assessments you have to understand for your business. So there are many questions. Remember, the focus is on keeping the customer at the center. Understanding what your strategy is, what is it you're trying to achieve? Who are the best customers to help you do that in the most cost-effective way? That will still wow the customer. Because that person that you just told, sorry, you have to come to my store, what's up? The person will make an exception for you.